was Pearl Harbour, December 7th, 1941. Now, 10 years after the Japanese sneak attack and 6 years after Japan's surrender aboard the battleship Missouri, Prime Minister Shigeru Yoshida arrives in San Francisco with his daughter to sign a peace treaty, which the free world has worked to make just and lasting. Also to San Francisco comes Andrei Gromyko. The Soviet deputy foreign minister brushes off reporters with his usual no comment, no comment. Gromyko, who is expected to use Russia's well-worn filibustering methods to disrupt the conference, gets a gift of red roses from an anonymous admirer. President Harry Truman flies in aboard the presidential plane Independence and is welcomed by Mayor Elmar Robinson and Secretary of State Dean Acheson. The Japanese treaty has been planned as a cornerstone of peace for the Far East. To the War Memorial Opera House, where the UN Charter was signed in 1945, come representatives of 52 nations for the historic first session. In this battle of free nations versus communism for the support of Asia, President Truman cuts through red propaganda by stating clearly the business at hand.
The treaty now before us offers more than talk of peace. It offers action for peace. This conference will show, therefore, who seeks to make peace and who seeks to prevent it, who wishes to put an end to war and who wishes to continue it. We believe this treaty will have the support of all those nations that honestly desire to reduce the tensions which now grip the world.
Next day, it's a showdown fight with the success or failure of the conference at stake. The delegates arrive and prepare to vote on rules of procedure, which would put a time limit on speeches and prevent treaty changes. Among those attending is John Foster Dulles, who led the long treaty negotiations. Chairman Acheson opens the session.
The first order of business is the organization of the conference to include the adoption of rules of procedure and the election of officers.
Gromyko wastes no time in his effort to gain control of the meeting. He launches into a demand that Communist China be seated. Since the business at hand is to discuss procedures, he is ruled out of order. Next, Red Poland's representative takes up the harangue. Limited to 5 minutes, he insists on talking on and on.
The delegate is out of order. The delegate from the United Kingdom is recognized.
President, yes. I wish to support the ruling of the President on this matter.
Getting nowhere in his big effort to destroy the Japanese peace treaty, Gromyko dies hard, but Acheson remains firm. Rules permitting filibustering and changes in the treaty, voted by an overwhelming majority, effectively remove Russia's chief weapons of obstruction. Gromyko makes a final desperate effort to turn the tide, declaring that only the assembled delegates can decide whether an issue as important as the ceding of Red China is out of order. He demands a vote. Chairman Acheson calls his bluff.
Point of order has been raised by the Soviet representative as to the ruling of the chair. The ruling of the chair being that the proposal that we should now discuss the invitation to the government of the Chinese People's Republic is out of order. All those in support of the ruling of the chair will indicate by raising your hand.
All over the vast auditorium, the hands go up, and Russia's last hope goes down.
The ruling of the chair that the business before the conference at the present time is the question of adopting the rules of procedure is sustained by a vote of 45 for and 3 against.
With Russia's first great threat turned back, the San Francisco Peace Conference goes on.